Hi, my name is Helen Lay, and I'm a writer and a co-executive producer on Invincible.
My name is Ross Strachey, and I'm a production manager on Invincible Season 2.
Hi, I'm Simon Rasiopa, co-showrunner and executive producer on... One of the best things about the writing process on this show or on most shows is that it's kind of like you hang out with your friends and you talk about geeky stuff.
Writers' rooms are one of the most fun parts of the process because they're incredibly collaborative.
I talk to our team every day, practically every day.
So we get in a room and we talk about the books and things we want to keep and things we want to change and things we want to flesh out, and everybody sort of gets to toss around ideas, which I think is just a ton of fun, and try to make it as good as possible.
Usually just sometimes when it's so much time goes on between room, writing, coming back, multiple drafts, that I think it's just about like bringing it back to making sure everybody agrees on this is what we wanted to do and this is where we wanted to go.
You know, so usually everyone pitches ideas.
We don't care where a good idea comes from. We just want the best ideas in the show. So everybody has input on every episode.
And then each person sort of gets assigned an episode or gets to write an episode that they particularly connect with. And then we usually try and, come up with enough details so that the writer can go outline their episode.
And then the writer goes off, to the long, cold winter of his first draft or his or her first draft. They get some time to do that, and they, that's again on their own. Although the nice thing is the room is still there. So if they have problems, they call us up or they text us, or they're like, I need to know a new name for a Viltrumite that hasn't been used before. And we're like, I don't know, Thrag or something. And we're like, no, Thrag's being used, so we can't. That's how that kind of happens.
Great Nolan. Lucan found you first, I see. Glad you haven't gone too soft.
So fans may notice who watch this that I look a little strikingly familiar to Vidor in episodes 203 and 204. I have a mustache, and I think I walked in and Simon was one of the first people to see it, and he was just like, oh wow, we have our Viltrumite mascot now. They were like, we have a Viltrumite who needs to be looking like somebody, and we have somebody to go off of, and they asked me, would you be interested in having this be based off your likeness? And I was like, absolutely. And I've never been more excited for anybody that I know to see an episode ever more in my life than I was for 203 and 204. And just for, fun's sake, I'll tell you that when my high school friends did see it, the first thing they said is, you don't have that much hair. So I would also like to send a big shout out to Corey and Sean for giving me more hair than I have. I'm so thankful that they designed me in a likeness in any way with their art. It's probably one of the coolest things that ever happened to me in my life.
My mind is always blown, really for every episode when we get the storyboards in and you sort of start to see it come to motion. And then it's always blown again when we start to get animation in.
First animated footage we ever saw, which is this thing called the wedge test, was the Mauler escape scene in episode 103. And that was the first time I was like, oh, I think this might be good. And I think that was when the whole world of possibilities really opened up of what we could achieve.
Seeing it come together, we have an incredible team of directors, artists, both board artists and design artists, who just take those scripts and they take the original comic and they go through that and they just bring back just incredible creativity. Seeing the words come to life. There's a great quote. I don't know who said it, but one of the best parts about being a screenwriter is you get to walk through your own imagination. So you get to write something, you take an afternoon and you write a scene, and then you get to walk through it if it's a real set, or you get to watch it, see actors do it, and that's amazing. It's one of the best parts of the job.
Well, when your grandparents died, I was lost for a long time. They were the only family I had. Coming here felt like a chance to build something new.
You mean, with Mom?
Yeah, your mom changed everything.
How do we write for a character who comes from such an alien place, has different alien values, grew up in a very different society, experiences time on a very different scale than we do? I mean, that's the challenge of good writing. And I think part of the way you do that is you find those core aspects of his personality that we can make touchstones, like the humanity within the alien.
That's why we're here. to keep them from resisting, to show them how wrong they are, how pointless it is, that they can be a part of something bigger.
In that. So even though, you know, he grew up in this strange society, like he still has wants, he still has desires, he still has emotions. So it's about finding out like how are those different for Omni-Man, and maybe how do those change over time in the series, and exploring that. And sometimes we don't know the answer, we're just sort of asking questions, you know, and just as we take the character through whatever he experiences on the show.
For Adam Eve, you know, I am obviously not a superhero, but I was once a teenage girl. And so I think one of the really special parts about writing that episode, or helping Robert write that episode, is that I got to sort of delve back into some of the things that I experienced growing up, and sort of just my relationship with my mom. You know, Eve's, when she comes in the window and her mom is there like wearing a bathrobe, that's very much like based on like me coming home late and fighting with my mom as a teenager. You know, sort of like fighting about what dinner's gonna be, and the cream cheese and olive sandwich and not liking it. That's also based on sort of my relationship. So I guess I have to say thanks, Mom and Dad, although I will say my parents are much better parents than Eve's.
Dare freaks? Look at yourself. Isn't that why you belong there?
With Mark, I would say the key dramatic thing to explore with the show is his Viltrumite versus his human side. And obviously that's something that we follow in season 1, and in season 2 he's terrified of becoming a Viltrumite in, you know, in more ways than one, and having the violence of his father come through. And that's something I think we're going to continue to follow as we go forwards with the series, just as the books do.
Yeah, I mean, I think we just had to find the delicate balance of the fact that Mark is incredibly angry at Nolan, but also, you know, deep down, even though he knows his dad has done terrible things, he never stopped loving his dad. You know, that's not something you can just turn off.
Where's Mark, William? You were supposed to drop him off an hour ago.
We just want to say huge thanks to all the fans except Gary. We know what you did, Gary. No thanks for you, but everybody else, thank you.
I would like to thank the fans deeply. I have a job because of you guys.
I am incredibly grateful that I get to work on this show. It's a privilege every day, and that wouldn't be possible without the incredible fans who watch it. So I really, really appreciate it, and please keep watching.
And I'm really thankful that I get to work on a show that I love. On top of that, people seem to love it too. I think that this is an experience I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And so thank you.